Some people had asked me about why it was so emotional when I saw the image depict for Open Arms United Methodist Church, the church plant we started in Norristown. And it really stems from the night before I was driving home from my parents' house, and that's an emotional time right there. And in the middle of the drive, I heard the song "Yeah" by Usher, Ludacris, and Little John, and I'm listening to the lyrics, and I'm thinking to myself, these are very inappropriate lyrics, but I stayed listening to the song because I remember distinctly from one of the events the church did in front of our house. One of our earlier events, we just put a sign out, invited kids to come to a talent show. The team got together, made sure we had a microphone and a boom box for the kids to do. And so we sat out there and we had 40 kids come and just share different talents with the neighborhood, and the joy and the expressions on their face was just really great. They were all just supportive of each other and excited to be able to share each other's talents. And no matter where they were on that talent spectrum, they were just thrilled to be present, to have adults who loved them and who cared about them. And so that crept into my mind because one of the groups of kids, they sang that song that night. I have a very vivid memory of hearing that song start, and this will shock you that neither Dee nor I listened to Usher a lot, so I didn't really know the lyrics, and as the lyrics came on, I'm like, these songs' lyrics are not appropriate, and this is actually a picture of the kids singing that song and dancing. And by the time I realized the lyrics were inappropriate, it was a little late to stop. So there we are, sitting in front, singing "Yeah," and rejoicing and loving each other. And then it dawned on me that night as I was driving home that both of these boys would die before they were 18 from gun violence. And at the second service, I specifically said that we lost 3 of the young boys who were coming to our Bible studies, to all the things Dee did a lot of because I would be working. We lost them to gun violence by the time they were 18. And I live in this really awkward world where, man, I feel like our country has made an idol out of politics, and I hear everyone talk about politics, and they speak all around these issues, and really I think their goal is to have power, and for me, none of this is about politics. It's about faces that Dee and I loved, that violence took, and so I see Open Arms, and I said it was a failure because it closed. We didn't have the money to keep it going. At one point, I was working 3 different jobs to pay our bills, and I wasn't taking pay from Open Arms at all. But I look at those faces, and I still see those faces and wonder, what if we did more? Is there something different we could have done to have a different outcome? And when I hear everyone just engaging in these angry politics and these angry efforts to get control and get more people on their side than the other, I'm reminded that the one thing we should focus on is loving God and loving each other. And if there's one thing that I would say Open Arms was great at is, man, we loved. We loved the people around us. We welcomed everyone. In the midst of some really difficult situations, we pressed forward. And so, yes, I still would say that I think it's a failure, but at the same time, I say to people, if God led us to do the same thing, and I knew this would be the outcome of it, we would say yes again, because those moments made it all worth it. And I definitely hope and pray that all those children, that they have some relationship with Jesus, that at some point in their minds they think back to these times and say, hey, there was that guy and his wife and that community of believers who loved and poured out into us. And so So that's why it was so emotional for me, because I don't just see that house. I see these faces of people who left this planet way too early, faces of people who've really struggled. And man, I wish I could do more. But when it's all said and done, I do believe Dee and I were faithful to what God requested of us, which is we love God and we love the people we were before. And I'm grateful for the 8 years we've had together, and I look forward to continuing to love God with you and to make sure we do the best job we can at loving each other, loving every person that God puts before us, because that's what's really important in this life, loving God and loving each other.